Guten Tag. That naughty Michael Ludwig or Michael Ludwig has set me off. My underlying psychosis has been reawakened by his latest video. First, I've got to show my reclining lounge, which I like to relax on. There's 6 of those black house spiders living there too, but they're timid. I just sit there and they just run and hide in their little holes. Yeah, so every time the word Pink Floyd's mentioned, I go into acid flashback mode, and I'll save the best to last. This is the album where I turned right off Pink Floyd. This shit album, metal, it's crap, absolute rubbish. Hate it. There's a reason why I really hate it. It's because I saw them just after this was released. They came out to Sydney. I was all excited, went to the concert. We'll get to that in a minute. The reason why I really dislike this album is I made the mistake of driving up through the Blue Mountains on LSD. It was White Lightning, I think. And I had about the only bad trip I ever had was playing that horrible Echoes thing on the cassette in the car, and it set off a really bad trip. I became quite psychotic. Anyway, I got over it. You know, my German girlfriend fell over and cut her hand, and the blood looked like, and then it looked like the blood looked like, instead of just being a little cut with a bit of blood, it looked like oceans of blood coming out of a hand. And then I looked up at my so-called friends Tony and Peter, and they were vampires, Oh man, it was heavy. So for that reason, I hate this album. It's shit anyway. Garbage. Sorry. Okay, that's out of the way. Then yes, I got to show these ones because this is the album that all the people that hated Pink Floyd or used to sneer at me. This is the one that they all go, oh, yeah, it's great. It's a groundbreaking commercial masterpiece, except for that Claire Torrey, female carrying on there going, it sounds like she's got terrible constipation and she's trying to, lay one of those brick turds with barbed wire, like a brick with barbed wire wrapped around it, trying to squeeze it out of fucking French ass. I love mornings, don't you? Oh, look, I got a cup of coffee. I think I'll just slurp it. How original. Welcome to my nightmare. All right, we got that shit out of the way. Yeah, I've got With You Here. I quite like that album. I much prefer it to Dark Side of the Moon because there's that, I don't know, I just prefer it. I've never heard The Wall. There's some song on it called Teacher, Leave Those Kids Alone. It fucking makes me vomit. Sounds like diarrhea or something to me, that song. It just sounds like diarrhea. What else can I say? I've never heard anything they've done after Wish You Were Here. And I wish they'd gone away, actually, after that. Anyway, not to worry. Now, it's all your fault, Michael. You've set me at, it was Michelle. I can't pronounce the German. What the fuck am I talking about? Shit. Damn it. Need it. This is another triple strength black coffee. Yeah, that's it. That crazy loon. What's his name? The one Sid Barrett, Roger Barrett. I don't like it. The only thing I don't like their first 2 albums at all because I don't like Sid Barrett. Okay, I love Sam Lee Play and Arnold Layne, but that's it. And he couldn't play guitar for shit. Anyway, so that's inconsequential. We'll get to it in a minute. This is the second album. This is the third album I actually put out. This came out before Ummagumma, I believe. The wonderful original soundtrack to the movie More. I love this album. It's fantastic. Fantastic. And moving on past Ummagumma, the mighty Adam Hart Mother. Killer album. I've got the. I used to have The Body, Ron Geeson and Roger Waters on vinyl. I've got it on CD here. But if you like Adam Hart Mother, get a copy of The Body, which was a movie made about the workings of the body. It's got it's hilarious. It's really funny. If you love farting noises and stuff, check it out. Yeah, fathers shout, breast milky, mother for, funky dung, mind your throats please, re-emergence. Side one of Adam Hart Mother, fucking wonderful. If's alright, side two, If's okay, Summer of 68's okay, Fat Old Son's okay, Alan's Psychedelic Breakfast, my favourite Pink Floyd track ever. It's just brilliant. Anyway, enough of that. Okay, now I've read interviews. I saw the David Gilmour interview from about 15 years ago recently again, and they keep putting down the my three favourite Pink Floyd albums. They just put them down, More, Adam Hart Mother, and Ummagumma. Now, they just disassociate themselves from I believe, my theory is they're the most dull. You ever seen these people interviewed, these Pink Floyd things? They're the most boring, dull people on the planet ever born, ever. The gods thought, let's play another joke on the general public. We'll get some scouse gits and make them famous, and we'll give them a silly name like the Beatles. Hey, and the other god says, hey, I've got an even funnier idea. And they came up with Pink Floyd. And they gave them all, music that was usually reserved for Beethoven and Stravinsky. These gods said, hey, let's give it to these four dumb architecture students and see what happens. And they rubbed their hands and said, oh, gosh, isn't this funny? And then after Adam Hart Mother, they said, hey, let's take away the power we gave them. And that's when you get that and that. They are merely the work of the four dullest architectural students in history ever. Anyway, I'm waffling. All right. You cannot imagine how freaking great this sounded. I'm 71 years old now, and I saw them in 1971. So there's a 71-71 thing going there. Look at that. Great cover. David Gilmour was the coolest dude on the planet when this album came out. This album cover, we just looked at it. It's not original, but they do a good job with it. I got two copies, both Australian. My original, and another one I got years later because it was in beautiful condition. That's the Australian one with the Gigi airbrushed out. I better hurry up, 9:12. All right, yes, I actually saw them in 71. I took my Super 8 movie camera along, silent, no sound, and the people that went to that gig in 71 were all heads and, underground type people. No squares at all, except the band. True. But what went wrong there was I was filming, and it was great. They were playing that shit song, Echoes, which anyway, not to worry. But it sounded great, They were much better live. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Shut up. Yeah. getting a bit. Yeah, just reliving a bad trip. Yeah, so I was filming it up in the stands, and one of the band members pointed up to me. I can't remember which one it was, and then these bouncers they sent their security guys up, and I thought, fuck, what am I going to do? And everyone saw what was happening. So what I did is I took the film out of the Super 8, and the guy saying, "Give me that film." So what I did is I pretended to take the film out of my Super 8 camera. They might have thought it was a gun because it was one of those big Super 8. They might have thought I had a gun. I never thought of that, actually. I only just realised. They probably thought, that guy's got a fucking gun. And then they saw it as a camera. That's probably why, though. So anyway, the crowd were all going on my side. So what I did is I got a blank one I had in my pocket. And I said, all right, I'll throw it down. You know, they actually stopped the music and everything while this was going on. So I threw the blank tape down to the, and the crowd were grabbing it and throwing it backwards and forwards to each other, having a laugh, you know. And this guy, security guy, finally got it, and as if to say, yes, I got it, silly cunt. So I actually had them on film, but I was so pissed off. Years later, one day, I got drunk and cut out all the Pink Floyd out of my Super 8 movies and threw it away. Yeah, and then funny thing was, a year later, we're in the train, me and my mates, and the security guard that was getting, you know, acting all heavy, and it was sitting on his own in the train carriage, and we were all just going, "Hey, that's the guy that," and he was shitting himself. He was shitting himself. It was so funny. Yeah, so that's when I knew the Pink Floyd, that song Money. You think that Roger Waters is going, you know, it's a bit like John Lennon saying, imagine all the people if they just gave away their money and stuff. And that fucking dead shit was worth millions. And that Roger Waters misery guts, going, money, who needs it? And all, teacher, leave those kids alone, you know, and money, who needs it, or whatever that song is. The only good bit about that song is the cash register sound. You know, it's not even a cash register. He did it with just, anyway. That's the only good experimental bit on that album, is that the sound effect of a cash register on money. And that woman sounds like she's, you know, doing a shit with barbed wire, you know, brick with barbed wire wrapped around it coming out of fucking arse, sorry. And, yeah, I thought, these are just money pigs. So I went off Pink Floyd. I saw them live, got mistreated by their security, and that was the end of Pink Floyd for me. But I always have a love for Ummagumma. It's the first krautrock album. There's no krautrock without Ummagumma, the live side. And Richard Wright is the real heart of the band, you know. Okay, I'm running out of time. You know, the sound of that, the live sound, the live recording on Ummagumma, where they actually bring those tracks from the Syd Barrett era alive. David Gilmour is the best thing that happened to them. Getting rid of Syd and bringing in Gilmour was brilliant. But Richard, it's the sound of Richard Wright. He is so underrated, that guy. You know, that's krautrock, mate. That is the best krautrock record ever. Is alive, Ummagumma, and I love the experimental album. It's brilliant. The only track that's weak's the drummer. Nick Mason's one's pretty piss weak, and luckily it's right at the end, so you can just take it. Don't bother. But and I was so disappointed to see David Gilmour putting down Adam Hart Mother Ummagumma. I really was, because they just don't know what they're doing. They really don't know. They have no idea. They're not hearing it. They're doing it without really knowing what they're doing. But Richard Wright, Sisyphus, parts 1 to 4, great. Roger Waters, Grantchester Meadows, and several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave and grooving with a pick. Great. David Gilmour, The Narrow Way, parts 1 to 3. Fucking fantastic. Fantastic, or whatever it is. 14.59. Well, bye for now.